happened to 10-year-old Zahra Baker.
This is a very emotional time for law enforcement.
Police strained upon looking for the possibility of finding a body.
This woman who smelled something outside her home.
Yes, I want them to find it.
A full-scale search is underway today.
I know, I knew this day was going to come.
Her stepmother, Elisa Baker, is in jail.
Little Zahra was often beaten, locked in a room.
Elisa Baker feels she is being railroaded by police.
Stepmom made Zahra's life a living hell.
She says that she is not a killer. She had nothing to do with this whatsoever.
Elisa Baker's son, Douglas Baker, issued this statement. I am unable to make any comment on anything regarding Zahra Baker, as well as my mother, Elisa Baker.
Everybody that knew Zahra, how she's being treated, this is gonna happen.
Police say Zahra's stepmom has not been truthful.
If you know her, nothing adds up.
Police do believe that Zahra is dead.
It's evil. It's just downright evil.
But they do not have her body, and no one is charged with her murder.
I came back from looking at a job and started some work in the yard, and her mother came out and started screaming that Zahra was missing.
What did she tell you? Where did she say it happened? What did she know?
She didn't know very much. She came out crying and panicking, just like telling me Zahra was gone. I went inside, searched the house, started searching around the block, and called the police.
Do you think your wife could have had something to do with Zahra's disappearance?
I wouldn't like to think so, but going off what I've heard so far, it could be possible.
That is Zahra Baker's father on ABC's Good Morning America. And what I don't get is, the father is saying he didn't see the little girl since Thursday. He'd get up early in the morning, go to work, get home late at night, she'd already be asleep. But when that many days go past, don't you just tiptoe into the room to see them? When the twins are asleep, when I get home, that rare occasion, I go in and look at them. When I wake up in the middle of the night, even if I don't hear them, I go check on them. How can a father go days on end without even looking, laying eyes on his daughter? What about it, Dr. Bethany Marshall?
Well, Nancy, I think he was participating in the abuse. This mother had something called factitious disorder. That is when the mom makes up mysterious illnesses like cancer, brain cancer, stuff like that, in order to get sympathy from others. So there's a likelihood that she gravitated towards this family because the little girl had cancer and she wanted to gain control over the little girl and took some perverse satisfaction in proximity to the little girl's illness, but then became sadistically preoccupied. This mother loved to torment the little girl. She took perverse satisfaction in that. And I have a very hard time believing that Dad didn't know about it.
Slow it down. I'm trying to take in what you're saying. You're saying the mom had some attraction to the child because of her illness? Yeah, I don't understand that, number one. And number two, this attraction was not love or mercy or kindness or a mothering, nursing instinct because she began to torment the object of her fascination. I don't understand what you're saying.
You put it perfectly. It was an attraction that went wrong. Initially, it was an attraction towards the cancer because as she got close to the little girl, she could get all kinds of attention from care providers, doctors, hospitals, because the little girl had this illness. That's Munchausen syndrome. But what happened is then she began to resent and hate the little girl because the little girl had special needs. Remember, the mother was preoccupied with her own symptoms and she feigned cancer. So there would be a competition between her and the little girl.
3 times, Dr. Bethany, 3 times the stepmother told people she herself had cancer, brain cancer. How many times can you have brain cancer?
So think about what that competition turned into. It was extreme resentment towards the little girl for having needs, and then systematically torturing her and abusing her because she had needs. One of your reporters said the little girl slept in a crawl space above the closet. She systematically increased the torture, and I really am very interested to know what the last few months of that little girl's life was like, because I keep thinking that the torture was ratcheted up until the little girl died and the dad knew about it, and then they had to participate together in disposing of the body.
You know, another thing, listen to this. I'm going to go to Tanya Hefner. This is former neighbor of the Bakers who actually filed charges against Zahra's stepmother. Isn't it true, Tanya, that you yourself told police twice about the way she treated Zahra?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I told two different sets of officers that came out here on two different occasions of the confrontations I had with her about the abuse that we had seen and the neighborhood children had seen. And the first one that came out, the first set that came out, he said that he had not only heard that from me, he had heard it from many other people about the abuse. And the second set that came out on another occasion told me that if I had a problem with it, that I needed to either take it up with the Drug Enforcement Agency or I needed to take it up with someone else.
So the police were tired of hearing about it?
Exactly. And I did call the school over the second incident, and I explained to them my concerns over the little girl on the abuse, and they did come out and check on her. And it was shortly after that that they moved out of the neighborhood. Are you saying the school came out? Yes, the assistant principal of Hudson Elementary did come out, and she brought another lady with her, and it was on a Saturday, and shortly after that, 2 or 3 weeks after that, they moved out of the neighborhood. That, it seems to be a common theme that when people get on to them, they move. They've moved and moved and moved all around North Carolina. And John Miller, editor, Hickory Daily Record, isn't it true that you have learned, you personally have learned, they never registered Zahra for homeschooling?
No, they didn't. We checked today. They didn't register for homeschooling in Catawba County, which was required when she withdrew from school in Caldwell County. And she was also not registered for school in Catawba County if indeed she was going to school. And it's a requirement by the state that must happen.
Well, you know what?
So what we're
getting toward the end of October. Has it taken a cadaver dog hitting on an industrial wood chipper to alert the school system in North Carolina, hey, she's not in school, she's not registered? Now she's probably gone down a wood chipper, people. And I want to go now to Dr. Charles Sophie, Medical Director of the LA County Department of Children and Family Services. He's author of Side by Side. Dr. Sophie, I don't mean to take this out on you because you're joining me as a guest out of LA, but how many times do you have to call child services and call police and call the schools? You've got neighbors from all these neighborhoods that they move to. You've got police. You've got child services visiting the home. You've got the teacher and the principal coming to the home. But nothing happens. Nothing happens. And now we're looking at a wood chipper. Dr. Sophie, help me out.
I'm helping you. The problem is that, you know, it's not just one agency. There's 15 different agencies going out there. Everybody's doing their own thing, and they're not necessarily connected. And everybody has a mission. The problem is it's silo work. It doesn't mean nothing's happening, but everybody's got to be able to do what they have to do. You can't walk into somebody's house and take their child unless you're sure it's the right thing to do.
Well, do you think they're sure now, Dr. Sophie? You think they're sure now that we're looking at a wood chipper and you got cadaver dogs out sniffing down into the earth? You think child services and the school system in North Carolina has figured out something might be wrong with little Zahra? Alicia lawyers. Eleanor Odom, prosecutor, death penalty qualified, and I'm going to need you on this case. Peter Odom, defense attorney, Atlanta. Alan Ripka, defense attorney, Atlanta. Go ahead, Peter. Give me your best defense for stepmommy.
You know, Nancy, right now, there's really nothing you can say. We just see this time and time again, a missing child, suspicious stories. Well, the best defense I can come up with now, Nancy, is that there's not enough evidence to charge them with anything related to the child. It certainly seems to be getting that way, but until they come up with physical evidence, they simply can't charge them.
Ripka?
It seems to me the police are getting there, though.
It seems to me that the husband has a lot more to do in this than the wife does. Yeah, he had the ability to do what he had to do, take her to a place where he used to work, and that's going to be the focus of the investigation.
Okay, that's the defense I see happening, pointing the finger, Eleanor.
Well, and it's typical defense. The co-defense will point the fingers at each other, but the prosecutor's job is to just go after them both.
We've got 50 officers here. Hickory Chief of Police is here, and the FBI, SBI. I think every agency here is throwing everything they can into this.